morning to teachers and friends. Today I will be presenting to you about the history of Malaysia. How did Malaysia first start around? One of the oldest colonies to first exist was found in Malacca. Malacca was found by someone called Paramaswara. At the time, Malacca was one of the best trade lands and attracted many settlers. Most settlers were Chinese and Indians. Because of this, it left a strong influence on the land of Malaysia, like the culture, religion, and language of the Indians and Chinese. The first few people to colonize Malacca was Portugal in 1511, then the Dutch on 1641, and then was conquered again by the British in 1824. The British Empire controlled Malaysia, which at the time was called Malaya, the longest. The first few colonies of the British Empire in Malaya was located on Penang Island in 1789, which was given by the Sultan of Kedah. Town of Singapore in 1819, and by the time of 1826, the British conquered Penang, Malacca, and Singapore. The British Empire had most of Malaya divided into three groups: the Federated Malay States, which consist of Pahang, Selangor, Perak, and Negeri Sembilan; Unfederated Malay States, that had the states of Perlis, Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu, and Johor; and the Strait Settlement, which had Penang, Singapore, and Malacca. The Japanese In the 1920s until 1930s, people of Malaya have been spreading independence and freedom ideas. However, before Malaya took action, the Japanese invaded in 1941. They conquered most of Malaya until 1945, when the British called an emergency on Malaya. In the end, the Japanese surrendered and Malaya was back in the British Empire's control. Shortly after that, the British Empire formed a union called the Malayan Union. They combined the Federated Malay States, Unfederated Malay States, and the Strait Settlement. This was originally to prepare Malaya for self-governing in the future. However, the British abolished royal institutions and Malay privileges. This made the people mad. Independence. The Malayan Union was disbanded and replaced by the Federation of Malaya in 1984. They restored the Malays' ruler positions and privileges. Sabah, which was known as North Borneo at the time, Sarawak, and Singapore joined the Federation. Because of that, the name was changed from the Federation of Malaya to the Federation of Malaysia. The flag changed as well. In 1952, a man called Tunku Abdul Rahman formed a party called the Alliance Party. The purpose of this party was to gain independence, and finally, on the 31st of August 1957, Malaysia's independence was officially announced. At Selangor, Padang, when the clock struck 12, the Union Jack, which is the British Empire flag name, was pulled down. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.